The headlines on RT International. There are conflicting reports that President Assad plans to send troops to Syria's Afrin. That's where Turkish forces are fighting against Kurdish soldiers. In Japan, recently discovered secret state documents on the practice of forced sterilization have prompted victims to break their silence and seek compensation.
I know I will suffer until the end of my life. If only I could go back in time, but I can't.
And the International Criminal Court receives over 1 million testimonies from Afghans alleging war crimes perpetrated by, among others, the Taliban, Islamic State, the Afghan military and US Army personnel. Now, midday on Tuesday here in Moscow, you're watching RT International, and a very warm welcome to you. Kurdish children and their teachers have marched through Syria's Afrin in protest over the Turkish military offensive there. With Ankara trying to oust the Kurds from the northern Syrian region, both sides appear to be looking to strike an unlikely alliance. Damascus is reportedly in talks to assist the Kurds, while Turkey said it would welcome any effort by the Syrian army to drive out what it calls terrorists from Afrin. RT's Murad Gazdiev explains.
Afrin has turned into a bloodbath, a grinding war that is claiming dozens, if not hundreds, of lives every day. Turkish soldiers, their rebel allies, die in droves, near 1,000 dead, reportedly. The Kurds, the YPG, PKK or PYD, some estimates put their losses at over 1,000 in a matter of weeks. The Turkish operation in Afrin isn't so much an advance as it is a meat grinder. This is senseless, yet, according to the belligerents, necessary slaughter. And it's hurting everyone.
We can cooperate with any side that lends us a helping hand in light of the barbaric crimes and the international silence.
There is a possible solution, one that could stop this madness. A man, the least likely candidate of all.
Assad is clearly a terrorist and has carried out state terrorism. There is no peace in Syria, and there cannot be any peace with Assad in power.
The regime says we will hand over our regions to the region's army. We will never hand them over.
That was then, before the US-led anti-ISIS coalition began butchering each other. Now, when everyone's dying and they need him, Assad isn't such a bad guy anymore.
If the regime is entering there to cleanse the PKK and PYD, then there are no problems. However, if it comes in to defend the YPG, then nothing and nobody can stop us or Turkish soldiers.
It's simple. If Assad took over Afrin, and Afrin is Syrian territory, he could disarm or sideline the YPG. Ankara's enemy would be neutered, and there'd be no more need to throw away Turkish lives. The Kurds, in turn, would survive, and Afrin won't be turned into another crater. It's the least bad solution. So far, the only solution to stopping this now.
It is a very good step. It's good news for us. May God help them and everyone who supports Afrin.
We are all very happy about this decision. We want this crisis to end so people can return to their homes. We are waiting for the pro-government forces to help us.
It's early days. The details are still being worked out. The issue is, no one trusts anyone. The Turks are afraid Assad will ally with the YPG. The YPG are afraid that Assad will sell them out to the Turks. And Assad probably wants both gone.
We spoke to journalist Danny Mackey, who says, surprisingly enough, both sides are now looking to Assad for decisive action.
Well, it is ironic because both the Kurds and the Turks have at different times stated their absolute condemnation of the Syrian government and their unwillingness to deal with President Assad or the government at any particular moment in time. Now both of these groups are now looking at Damascus as some sort of peacemaker in this conflict, because the first factor is desperation. Both sides cannot find an ultimate solution to this conflict which has emerged. I mean, the Turks are losing troops and tanks on a day-to-day basis. The Kurds and Assad are no allies by any stretch of the imagination, but they view that a deal with Assad would be better than making a deal on very weak terms with the Turks. The second factor is the lack of the definitive role of the United States of America, which is essentially seeing its two main allies, either in Syria or next to Syria, fighting each other. Now that's a chaos. So Damascus has just stepped into this void now and is filling the vacuum created by this tension and this crisis.